Hi guys, so this week I'm going to be reading fantasy books, and after all the high ratings of mystery thriller books, I'm kind of expecting the same thing for fantasy since it's my favorite genre. Last time I was able to get through 3 books within the week, and I'm expecting similar situation this time. I'm not a super fast reader, but I'm not super slow, so 3 books I think is a good basis. And the books I have so far that I'm probably going to read are Kingdom of the Wicked, Throne of Glass, Clockwork Prince, Clockwork Angel, whichever one's the first one, and the Atlas Six. The first book I'm reading this week is Kingdom of the Wicked, which my sister actually got for me yesterday. So I got through the first 10-12 chapters, and just saying the back spoils the first 10 chapters. I don't know if you can call it spoiling, but still the first 10 chapters are all given away in 2 paragraphs. Anyway, it's about this girl named Emilia, and her family is this family of witches, so they can do magic and spells and that sort of thing. And Emilia has a twin sister, Vittoria, which I keep thinking it's Victoria, but there's no C. Anyway, Vittoria is murdered, and Emilia's on a quest to find the person who killed her sister and basically get revenge. And while doing that, she meets this guy named Wrath, who is one of the 7 princes of the underworld, or a demon or something. And that's where I am right now. Just random. I'm not a fan of snakes or skulls, and this cover has both of them. So, yeah. After updating you guys yesterday, I read a lot. I'm on chapter 29 now, and after chapter 10, the new information starts. So new meaning stuff that's not on the back, and it's gotten really good. The story has been moving really quickly, and it's one of those mysteries where to solve the original mystery, like for Emilia to get revenge on whoever killed her sister, she has to figure out this bigger mystery with this guy named Wrath. And also, since Wrath is one of the 7 princes of the underworld, Emilia doesn't really know his true intentions, and she's always kind of on the border of whether this guy's actually good or not, and if he's lying or actually helping her. I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but I've been changing the color of that lamp thing to represent the certain book that I'm talking about or that video's theme or whatnot, but that's supposed to be sort of gold since this book is like gold right there. But anyway, I finished Kingdom of the Wicked last night, and it's really, really good. I think it's at least a 4-star book, 4-star plus really, but I don't want to give it a solid rating yet. But this book ended really well. It leaves this whole situation for book 2, but for whatever Emilia is doing in this first book, it closes off and kind of solves that part of the mystery in a really fun to read and nice way. And I really like the whole spells and incantations and that situation of this book. Next book I'm gonna read is probably the Clockwork Angel. I think that's the first one. I don't remember, but that book, since my sister just finished reading all 3 of them and she said it was really, really good. So I just finished Clockwork Angel, and the book is honestly just really an interesting book to talk about because the whole first part of the book, I was trying to find a stopping point where I could tell you guys the basis of the book and then what was going on, but I couldn't really get into it in the beginning. I don't know why. Maybe it was just because I was into Kingdom of the Wicked at that point, but I don't know. after sort of, I think, 8 chapters or so, it got super, super good. And then now, in the second half of the book, I couldn't find a stopping point to tell you guys what was going on because I was just so invested in the book. So that's my feelings so far on Clockwork Angel. And yeah, I just really want to read book 2 right now. And it was the same for Kingdom of the Wicked. I just really wanted to read the second book and find out where the story goes from wherever it had ended previously. And also, just let me give you guys a brief overview of the book now that I've completed it. But basically, it's set in the late 1800s in London, and Tessa's the main character, and she comes from New York to London, where her brother is doing some job, and he's like 3 years older than her. Tessa's relative in New York died, so she has no one left except for her brother. And then when she goes there, her brother Nate is not there. He's missing or just not there. So it kind of gives off like Paris apartment feeling at first. But then later you get into the whole fantasy situation, and Tessa is taken in by these people who are basically not good. You find that out in like chapter 1 or something, so right after the prologue. And Tessa has this ability where she can change into someone else literally entirely. The whole appearance, the voice, and even some of their memories to kind of come to her. And that ability is really rare in this whole fantasy world. Or I think she's the only one. And she is now kind of made like a target, and people want her for her ability. And then she's rescued at some point, and that's kind of where the book starts picking up a little more. And then you get to meet her kind of group of people who are now there for her and there with her throughout the rest of the book and until the end. So there's 2 people that I really like, Will and Jem, and both of them are just really, really interesting to read about. They both are like a good pair together, and their banter with Tessa is also just super good and funny, especially all the remarks that Will makes just makes this book a really interesting, entertaining read. So yeah, on to the next book though. Time for an update. So I got through a decent amount of Throne of Glass, and I chose that book just because I know I have the Atlas 6 book lying around somewhere, but I need to find it. And then Throne of Glass, I have that on the library loan, so that's ending. So I thought I'd just finish that one off since I can read Atlas 6 anytime. The concept of the story is pretty simple. There's this girl named Selena, and she's an assassin, and she's competing against 23 other people to become the king's spy slash assassin person. And really the entire story is driven by that competition. In the beginning of the book, you get a bit of background information on Selena, and she's an assassin, but she's been working in the mines as a slave for the past year since she got captured. And she's only 18 years old, but she's known to be the world's greatest assassin. So that's really all you get about her, other than the fact that something really bad happened in her past, but you don't know what that is, and that past led her to become an assassin. Okay, so it's may or may not been a week, but I have finished 3 books up till this point: Kingdom of the Wicked, Clockwork Angel, and Throne of Glass. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to Atlas 6. Fortunately, I didn't waste time finding the book, because it could have taken me like 2 days to find the book or something. I'm just kidding. Anyway, those books are what I finished in a week. I think it's a pattern. About 3 is how many books I can complete per week. So this is the final review for the week. I feel like I said the word week like 7 times in the past 20 seconds. But anyway, this is the final review and star ratings and rankings and my final thoughts. So the first book I read this week was Kingdom of the Wicked, and honestly, it feels like I read this a while ago, but the whole fantasy world of this book is witches and spells and demons and that idea. So it's a pretty different fantasy book from ones I've been reading. But I would say it's a really solid book, solid concept, and it's different from the general fantasy books and that theme that I've been reading. So I really enjoyed this book. And before I give you guys my rating, I want to just rank the 3 books I read this week in order. And this book is second place. So solid middle between Throne of Glass and Clockwork Angel. You guys will find out which one's 1 and which one's 3. But one of the reasons I gave this number 2 was because the number 1 book was funny. It was a really good fantasy read, but it was also funny and it made you laugh. And this one has that, but not as much. And it's just a tiny bit more serious. So that's why this book goes in second. But it's fast paced. The whole idea of finding who killed Victoria is Emily's goal. Emilia. I totally forgot all these names. Emilia is the main character. She's trying to find out who killed Victoria. And that kind of unravels into a whole conspiracy. And it's not just that one thing. So I kind of like the idea of it connecting to more and leading on to the next book, which I will definitely read. This book was really, really, really fantastic. Second book I read this week is Clockwork Angel, and I read that on the Kindle. And apparently it's like 450 pages or something. And that is a really, really thick book. So I didn't realize I read so much since, you know, the Kindle's literally just this big and you can't really tell how much you've read other than the percentage. But yeah, 450 pages is a lot. And Clockwork Angel is my first place book of this week. It was really, really good. The concept is, again, really different from typical fantasy. And it also has that really well put in humor aspect to it. And there's this one character named Will, and all his comments are just really funny, and it's just a way to kind of lighten the entire book since it is pretty serious. But the friendship between the, I would say, 3 main characters, it's told in multiple perspectives, but it focuses on Tessa, who's the main character. So Tessa, Jem, and Will are kind of just a really good trio, and their interactions together and how Tessa gets to know those people is really great to read. And also the whole idea of clockwork is just spread throughout the book, so it's kind of cool to see how the title plays a huge role and really is just the basis of the book. One big difference I noticed between Kingdom of the Wicked and Clockwork Angel is that Kingdom of the Wicked, you know the main mystery that the main characters are trying to solve, and that may or may not connect to something else, but that's the basis. However, Clockwork Angel, you really don't know anything. You don't know who the bad guy is, you don't know what the bad guy's planning, you don't know when, where, you don't know anything. And you're taking the journey with Tessa from beginning to end. So that's the difference. And I said earlier that I had a bit trouble getting into Clockwork Angel, so, you know, that could have been the reason. But then, again, it might have just been me trying to compare Kingdom of the Wicked and Clockwork Angel as I'm reading it, if that makes sense. Clockwork Angel overall is just a fantastic read. Really enjoyed it. It's really thick. For me, it took a little bit of time to get into, but once you get into it, you are totally invested and you just really want to know what happens next. So I'm really excited to read book 2 of that. So yeah. Final book of the week is Throne of Glass. And again, I read that on the Kindle, so I guess I'll just be showing you guys the Kindle cover again. But after the basis I explained to you guys yesterday, or at least yesterday for me, the second half of the book is really more the same thing. It's just Selena in the competition, training, taking tests, that. But you are given a bit of a mystery, and essentially Selena's kind of tasked with finding this evil, is what the book calls it. And that evil's in the castle, and it's affecting the competitors in the competition. So you get another piece of the plot that adds to the competition, but it's not a big part or a small part. It's kind of just there, if that makes sense. But yeah, and then the book ends pretty well. It was a bit expected, but then again, there are 7 or 6 other books in the series, plus novellas. So there is a lot more of the story left in the entire series. One thing that I did want more from the book was more background on Selena and how she ended up where she is, because it keeps referring to something that happened when she was young, and that's not in this book. I think there's a novella called Assassin's Blade. I think that's the first one, or the prequel or whatever, and that goes more into the background of Selena, but I just started with Throne of Glass. So it's really debatable on whether that information should have been in Throne of Glass or a separate book. So yeah, I'll read that at some point, most likely. But yeah, Throne of Glass was third place of the week. Still bronze, right? So yeah, I did enjoy it way more than A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is one of her other books. And it makes me think I kind of gave A Court of Thorns and Roses a high rating, because I gave it, I think, a 3 or 3.5. And I know a lot of people like that book. Like, it's a really loved, enjoyed read, but it wasn't for me. And I think Throne of Glass is more down my lane. I still don't think it's my favorite book ever, but it was not bad at all. I got through it. I got through it really quickly too, and the chapters are really short. They just go on, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was Throne of Glass. So final ranking is Clockwork Angel, Kingdom of the Wicked, and Throne of Glass. And those are the books of the week. I don't know if I want to give you guys my star ratings yet, or I should wait for the monthly wrap up. Let me flip a coin, like literally. Okay, I found a penny, and heads, I'll give you guys my ratings. Tails, I will wait until the monthly wrap up. Okay. Tails. Okay, so I'll give you guys my ratings at the end of the month in the final video. However, I will leave you guys with one thing. Throne of Glass, which is the third book that I read, also ranked third, is a 2.75 plus. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys feel like doing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Now that I ended the video, I can flip the coin really well now. Like the video one, I flipped